like I say, I actually I made these uniforms one time and tested them out because I had to make uniforms for my officers. So one of the times I made some uniforms and I looked at them and I was like, I don't like those. I don't want my people wearing those. Those look stupid. They're like, yeah, well, somebody else asked for the red pants. And that was because originally Papa's boys, or the black boys, they would have a lot of sex with a lot of women. And before, in the old days, women used to spot all the time or something like that. I don't know. They said it had to do with the lead content or the metal content or something. There's this thing where women will actually be more erratic with their period. So these guys were going around having a lot of sex back in the old days, back in the 1920s, 1930s, or somewhere around in there. And basically, they would have sex, and then they would put on their white pants, and then they would get this orange spot in their crotch area because they wouldn't wash off or nothing. They would just rape the girl, and then they would pull up their pants, so they all had like this orange spot, right here, where the blood would soak through, pretty much. And plus, they would also go and kill people, and then they would get blood on their pants. So basically, who you see is basically Papa's boys and some of the black rapists, basically in the red pants and the gray shirt and the gray jackets, and they're running around like what's called. And basically pretty much I didn't want the uniform, so they said, "Oh, we'll take them," because it was like 150 or 200 or 300 uniforms that I didn't need and I didn't want, and they had actually ordered it and requested it, and then I was like, get rid of it, throw them away. I don't want red pants and gray jackets. That's stupid. So they looked really stupid. They did with their red, because they're red baggy. They're basically like sweatpants, pretty much, and basically a jacket. They're like the cheapest thing ever, but they were like, oh yeah, this looks so nice. A bunch of black people wearing red pants and what's called, because they usually had blood on the crotch and they couldn't wipe themselves. The truth of the situation was pretty funny. So they're all looking really, really good, really awesome. Like, oh yeah, I look so tough. Wolfpack or Alpha Male or whatever. I don't even know. Alpha Romeo. I think some of them called themselves Alpha Romeros or something like that. We're Alpha Romeos. Oh. Oh. I am Lucifer, epic creator of 100 galaxies or 800 galaxies, and the sun and the star and the earth and many other planets. I had to wait 250 million years or 250 billion years for the earth to cool enough where it could actually be habitable. And then started here. So anyway, and there's a bunch of other planets and stuff, but what is America? What is the military? What is the planet Earth? What is the water on the planet Earth? Like all that water, I actually figured out how to create those particles and actually created them myself. Like when I was like 100 trillion years old, I figured out particle creation and particles, and so I created all that water, a bunch of other water. So anyway, it's funny, but I mean, it's like, and all those White Houses are all those little lighthouses. I mean, not White Houses, lighthouses. Those are all my, I paid for them to be built to keep the ship safe. And the light, too, in there, I invented that as well. I think, well, it depends. I had some people doing some stuff, too. I always had people. I had a lot of children that would run around. They would invent things and do stuff. And I loved them very much. Like I said, I love my old Irishmen. My Irishmen actually invented stuff, too. I have it all listed down about who invented what. I mean, I don't take credit for anything that I didn't do. So, but I did do a lot, flight and a bunch of other really, really, really important things. And then everyone else just kind of tuned it in, kind of, you might say. So, because I wasn't around to do it myself. They were planning on killing me though, so. Anyway, though, a lot of things that you wouldn't know about, like how Papa stole a bunch of silver and a bunch of gold, and basically he was an abusive, horrible, mean person that ran this group of like 250,000 or 800,000 black people in this community, and they were pretty. They could have been pretty high tech eventually, but they were running around with bulletproof vests trying to rule the world, and basically just doing it for themselves and pretty much just doing it for Papa and his other guys and some other black guys. Yeah, their little Bentleys and stuff like that, and driving around like they own the place, saying that they own Bentley and all this and that. Or that they were going to build a car company. Oh yeah, that's right. They were going to build a car factory right there. and it was gonna be really awesome, and all this and that. But they never built it, of course. And actually, like I said, their dam was made of wood, and it was 30 feet tall of wood, and it was only like halfway full or something like that. And they were building it up 60 feet, and they're going to have that to hold the water back, was this wooden dam. And of course, it was going to burst if it got any higher. But it started to leak. They said it would have burst, but it started to leak like a sieve. And the leaking through the boards was enough that it relieved the water pressure enough that it kept the level down. And that's why it didn't flood the whole valley and kill everyone. Because there's a whole bunch of little mines and stuff that where their little white slaves were working. And if the dam had burst, it would have flooded all those mines and all those people that were chained to the floor and chained to the wall, because they would hammer in things and they'd run this thing and they'd clip on or put on people. You know, like I said, they would put on the irons all nice and hot. They'd put the iron on and go, and then you go, you know, with the iron still hot, and it would actually burn into the skin and everything else like that. That's what Papa and his boys and a bunch of other black people were doing to the white. What's called white Britons and Europeans and all that, and everyone else they came in contact with, and the Indians and then they would hammer it closed, hot, and then they would just let it shh, and it just sizzle, and sometimes they'd cool it off if they were feeling nice. Anyway, that's what the Irish said, and other people said, and the Indians said, and so they took them down because, you know, like I said, blacksmith shops would charge, and then, you know, of course, Papa or whoever, the black guys would get the money, of course. Anyway, they still had to buy their bulletproof vest from me. They were trying to do bulletproof vest, but they didn't know how. So they still had to buy their bulletproof vest from me, so I still got all their money. It's the funniest joke ever. They didn't know how to make them. So they were trying. They did most of the hay and the leaves. Those were actually the black people. They're trying to make it on their own, but they couldn't make, because it took silk or something, or some sort of good. And we actually used plates of steel or something, and they didn't know how to metallurgy either. They tried to get it, but they never got it. They got taken out first and broken up. Like I said, a lot of them died because they resisted rather fiercely. Don't know why. We just wanted, like I said, they just wanted the hostages that they had. They'd been grabbing people like Indians, and they would round them up out of the villages, and then they would go and take them underground and force them to work. And then you know, and then if the dam burst, and they actually even threatened to blow the dam if anyone attacked. And they would flood the mines, and everyone would die. Because you'd have to cut the chains off, and that would take time. Anyway, it might have been the time when they invented bolt cutters or something like that. But anyway, basically, they found a way to get the people out. And I think that what they were also doing was digging a tunnel, too, from the side. I think what we did was we started a mining camp by a house. And there was already a mine down there, but we were going a different way, and we shifted and turned over and went into underneath where Papa's group was, and then we went up, and we actually started getting the people out of the mines, I think, or something like that. They didn't really go down there. They just checked on them or something and had the people come up for their daily shit ration, which is basically opium and some poo and stuff like that. Anyway, somewhere around the 1920s or 1800 or 1850s or something like that. Anyway, and then the Indians and Irish and everyone took them out pretty much. And it was a big long fight because there was like 700,000 of them, and they had almost modern day weapons basically. But you know, I think they did have weapons. They did have guns, so they took out quite a few people. But you know, I guess they said we were more motivated. I was like, yeah, I guess you were. So. Anyway, though, yeah, but it happened a long time ago, and what happened then?